Time for this.
I think they'll go and underdog.
Again, out of nothing, they conjure something.
The ultimate team, the ultimate warriors.
With a look at all the sport, a very good morning to the armchair expert Andrew Schmidt. Schmitty, good morning.
Good morning to you, Joseph. We're into March. Can you believe it?
I know, it's the beginning of autumn. We've actually got a little bit of rain on the way this week too. So
Look, I think everybody in the southern part of Australia that hasn't had a decent drop in a year or two is looking at that remnants of that cyclone system heading from the north, Joseph.
Mm-hmm.
Historically, we get a bit of that every now and then, and let's hope it goes right through New South Wales and into Victoria like a dose of salt.
Well, we'll talk about it more very shortly with the Bureau of Meteorology and make sure they're sticking to that forecast.
Oh no, Joseph, they're the experts.
They are the experts.
They know.
And look, it was big over the weekend. Of course, it's probably good timing that the rain didn't come yesterday. Collingwood had a win over Richmond in the big pre-season game at Wangaratta at Norm Minns, and now I think about 8,000 people or so was the total gate attendance in the end.
Yeah, I saw so. Well, I watched that game actually, and I just love looking. You know, you see the camera pans around the crowd, and you see the big sign Wangaratta Football and Netball Club, and people out on their deck chairs. Great, isn't it?
Absolutely wonderful family day. It's great that the footy gets out into regional areas as well, not all at the MCG and Docklands.
Get them away from the Chardonnay set. Get them out in the bush, Joseph.
Yes, that's right. And the thing is that now Wangaratta, after a premiership points match as well, because these pre-season matches, we're getting some pretty big clubs over the last few years, and they've all been going quite well. So,
I mean, if you were in a country centre and you were pitching for one of these pre-season games, and someone said to you, look, we're going to send Collingwood and Richmond out, you'd be going, oh, happy days.
Salivating.
Oh, you'd be playing that song, Happy Days, wouldn't you?
Drooling. Yep.
Laughing.
Unlocking the cash registers around town.
Yes. I mean, imagine if you said to the people in Wangaratta, we're sending the Gold Coast Suns down to play Fremantle. You got to park your car around the fence, wouldn't you?
Oh, look, I don't know. It'd be quite that severe, Schmitty, but yeah, it'd certainly be a little bit more of you would think, a local economic bonanza with two big heavyweight clubs like that.
Yeah, and look, it's interesting. I'm not quite sure of the how they split it, whether the AFL take the gate and then the local league, get, I suppose, the food and alcohol outlets. And I don't know exactly how they work it, but it's just great to see country football centres hosting those sort of matches. Really is, rather than playing at some huge stadium. I just think it's wonderful to see. Well done, AFL.
We'll see whether or not Wangaratta manages to pick up a premiership points match.
They will. They're very progressive in Wang.
Yeah, it could be a little bit of a challenge, but we'll see. We'll see how we go there.
Up to the mayor, if it doesn't work, it's his fault.
No, Dean Rees is very proactive about those sorts of things.
Bloke, Joseph, good man, is he?
Yes.
Well, I didn't get one. No pressure, Mayor. No pressure.
No. How could there wouldn't be much pressure on mayors and political leaders. And Schmitty, there's a lot of pressure, though, in the Italian football leagues because, it's a whole different challenge going on there that's kind of off the football field.
Well, we sort of touched on the Olympics last week and the future for this year in Japan with the coronavirus. Now, Italy's had over 1,100 cases, 29 deaths so far, and their football league over there has responded to this coronavirus. They've postponed a series of matches, called off a number of games. They actually were looking at holding games without any fans in the stadiums. So This is now impacting at that level. So you just wonder if this coronavirus continues to take hold around the world, the impact it's going to have, just put sport aside for a moment, on your everyday life.
You've already questioned what will happen with the Tokyo Olympics.
Well, I mean, the Olympic Games, there's a great article again up today, Tracy Holmes on the ABC Sport page, saying, the Olympic Games have survived world wars, a terrorist attack, Cold War boycotts, and yet here we are, 5 months out from Tokyo 2020, and this virus is proving the most challenging of all. So, we spoke last week that some of the so-called experts were saying a call would have to be made by late April or early May, whether or not it goes ahead. And there's so much involved in all of this. I'd hate to be sitting around that table, Joseph.
It's very hard to predict, I'm sure, even though we seem to have already produced at least one vaccine, but I don't know how effective that is yet.
And even now there's a lot of lead-up events to Tokyo. The final two stages of the UAE cycling tour were cancelled after a couple of Italian officials tested positive to the virus. So, it's normally you'd see here in Australia a lot of athletes be heading overseas to compete in major meets in preparation for the Tokyo Games. A lot of them have been told to stay at home. So, the virus is really taking hold, and it's really going to impact in the sporting world.
You'd be a little bit hesitant at the moment taking a flight from any major airport, don't you reckon?
You would be, and look, it's. I was talking to a travel agent on the weekend, and he was telling me that they had 4 people booked to go to Tokyo for the Olympic Games. They've cancelled. They're not even waiting. They've just pulled the pin, Joseph.
Wow. Well, it's not that far off, as we were saying. It's only like 16 weeks or so.
Yeah, 150 days or something like that. So the countdown's on.
Yep. Okay. Well, that's interesting, isn't it? That must be having an impact on travel agencies and.
Well, you talk about just on the financial side of it. I understand over the past decade, just to get the Tokyo Olympics ready, the government's already outlaid at something like $9 billion.
Yeah, it's phenomenal the amounts of money that go into the preparation for the Olympics, isn't it?
Yeah. So anyway, Joseph, we can do nothing but watch that one with interest and follow it. And let's hope somebody out there somewhere will find a cure for this virus, and we start treating people and getting them healthy.
Will you be having your ABC-sponsored flu vaccine this year,
I never miss, Joseph. It's one of the highlights of the year for me.
It's just about that time, isn't it? So
I always tend to find somebody who takes great delight in putting a needle into me. Can't you take a tablet? What do we have to have needles?
I'm sure they just want to help you, Schmitty.
Can't they just rub something on your skin that your skin absorbs? It, everywhere you go, they want to put a needle in you.
Yes, why can't they just drop it in your cup of coffee?
Every time I go, and I'm getting off track here, every time I go to the dentist for a checkup, I can guarantee you at some stage he's going to go, oh, you need X, Y, Z, or hang on, I'll just pull out this 3-foot needle. You won't feel a thing. It's easy for you to say, yes. You're not feeling it.
Yes, I love the old, you won't feel a thing. Or,
you won't feel a thing, yeah.
Or you might just feel this.
Yeah. And I've got a fat face, and I walk out of the dentist after he's put a needle in, I look like Quasimodo. Head's like the size of a basketball. People say, have you been to the dentist? Yeah.
Not that we're trying to turn anybody off going to the dentist.
No, hey, look, and for all the dentists listening, you do a wonderful job.
Yes, exactly.
It's just that my dentist always finds something wrong, and he said, the reason I find something wrong every time you come here, Schmitty, is because you only come once every 3 years. He said if you were regular, you wouldn't have any problem.
Well, we're all encouraged to go more regularly than we do, I think, aren't we?
Yeah.
But the needles are a bit of a deterrent, I'll agree with that.
Well, it could be an Olympic sport, giving a needle.
Let's hope it doesn't become a sport. Schmitty, thank you for that. We'll talk to you at the end of the week.
Thank you, Joseph.
Lost to Collingwood at Wang yesterday. Tonight's Australian story features Tigers player Marlon Pickett, who became, you might remember this, one of the country's most admired sports stars when he took to the field for the 2019 AFL Grand Final and debuted there and actually had a really big impact. So 28 years old and the culmination of a journey that began more than a decade ago in juvenile detention, followed by, believe it or not, prison time, if you didn't know his backstory. So obviously really, really talented. He was overlooked by AFL clubs for many years because of his past until the Tigers finally took a punt on him, if you'll